Good day and welcome to the Gold, Goats, and Guns short news for Sunday, January 20th, 2019. My name's Tom Luongo, and boy, do we have a lot to talk about, because today I want to talk about Nancy Pelosi. All right. So this is fascinating, right? Just when you think you give Trump up for dead, things change. And the reason that they change is because when you back a person into a corner, when you back them into a situation where they've got nothing left to lose, that's when they become most dangerous. This is going forward as things play out across the European sovereign debt crisis and the loss of faith in government and everything else that's coming, that's already coming, the whole populist wave across Europe and here in the United States. The people in charge are going to become more and more cornered, and they're going to become very dangerous because they're going to have nothing left to lose. And we're starting to see moments where they act that way. Pelosi is in a very interesting position because she has bet her political career on beating Trump over the wall. And the problem for her is that while the wall is kind of divisive, ultimately, it's so little money what Trump is asking for that it doesn't matter. Martin Armstrong makes the point all the time that the $5.7 billion that Trump is asking for is a rounding error in the federal budget, which is going to come in at $4.4 trillion this year. Right? $5 billion on a $990 billion projected budget deficit is also a rounding error. It's less than 1%. It's less than 1 week's worth of interest on the national debt. And so at the end of the day, what Pelosi's doing here is grandstanding over an issue that she can't win on. Because the truth is that people do want border security. People are not happy with the state of our immigration. And her insistence and the Democrats' insistence on only keeping this discussion at the theoretic level, at the moral level, at the principle level, and not at the pragmatic level, is going to harm them in the end. Because at the end of the day, this economy is not great. Trump was elected because no matter how much they try to spin it, the economy sucks. It still doesn't really work for working people. There's still a real fundamental disconnect. I was watching the latest episode of The Grand Tour. You know, Jeremy Clarkson, James May, Richard Hammond, silliness with cars. And they went to Detroit. Now, we've heard dozens of stories about the plight of old Detroit. But it really is truly staggering how fast Detroit has collapsed. And Detroit is a metaphor for a great deal of the United States, which is why Trump was elected. And Pelosi's fighting that from within her own bicoastal, smug, liberal echo chamber. And she has a real problem. And that real problem is that most people just aren't with her on this. And there's a real disconnect between what's happening in Washington and the political games that Pelosi is very good at playing and the real world. And every day it's becoming more and more obvious that no matter what her arguments for not funding the wall, they're not real, and no one believes them. No one believes that this is about principle with her. No one believes that this is about the money. It has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with shutting down an illegal vote buying scheme. That's what it's truly about. And so Pelosi is embracing the role of the villain here, thinking that that makes her a strong woman and that she can play those identity politics games against Donald Trump. And she's attacked him on his manhood. She's attacked him on all these silly, silly things while he goes out and meets with the families of slain soldiers, while he makes a moral appeal to say, I will trade DACA for the wall. It's a good offer. It's not an offer I want him to make, but it's a good offer politically. It puts him in a very good position. It doesn't make him look weak. It makes Pelosi look heartless. And she's already dealing with a real problem. As I wrote in a blog post on Friday, she's fiddling while the Democrats explode around her. She has a real problem. Nasty Nancy has a real problem. And that real problem has the initials AOC. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. God, I can't believe I almost forgot her name. And the reason why she's a real problem is it's so obvious. When the Tea Party threatened the GOP establishment after Ron Paul's initial run in 2008 and the midterm elections, and we saw all these Tea Party guys come in, what did John Boehner, Speaker of the House, do? Did he play games with them? Did he give them committee seats? Did he do anything to make them feel welcome? No. He shut them down and he destroyed them. He marginalized them in every way. He refused to give them anything. He refused to listen to the people. It ultimately cost him his speakership. But it showed that he had control of his party. It showed that within his own little world, John Boehner had complete control over the situation. Now fast forward to earlier this month, Pelosi is supposedly facing a major challenge from the socialists within the Democrats. But somehow she slides right through with almost no opposition to become elected new speaker. And who winds up on the Financial Services Committee, arguably one of the most important committees in the House? Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Why? Because that was the bargain. You let Nasty Nancy run things for 2 years, and she'll buy you off, AOC, with a prominent committee seat. And now we have two crazy socialists, completely unqualified for their job, on the Financial Services Committee, looking to regulate the banks. Again, we're talking about a woman whose experience with money is experience with banking is, depositing her tips at the end of the night as a bartender. We're not talking about somebody who understands anything about tier one capital assets or, car ratios or any of this stuff. Nah, forget it. How banks even make their money. Are you kidding? You think she's read Dodd-Frank? Hell, Pelosi hasn't read Dodd-Frank. And that's a real problem. So Trump's going to win this fight on the wall, because Pelosi is not going to be able to keep everybody in line. She's not going to be able to keep the Democrats in line. She's already weak. So she projects strength because Pelosi doesn't know how to do anything else. What she really projects is that she's had a series of TIAs, but that's a different story for a different day. The other problem she has, because both of these things tie into the Democrats' betrayal of the middle class, first by alienating the Bernie bros and radicalizing and losing them to Trump, and then radicalizing the hard left within the coalition. And now the hard left anti-war segment of the Democratic Party has a champion who will be running for president. I don't know how much effect she's going to have on the presidential primaries. But you know something? No one thought Ron Paul announcing for the presidency would matter either. When Tulsi Gabbard gets up during the initial debates and is given 2 minutes to speak out against all of the wars across the Middle East, she will be the best stalking horse Trump ever had to get reelected. And it will destroy what's left of the Democrats. Not saying that there's not the same kind of fight going on within the GOP, and this all looks like exactly what's going on mirrored over Brexit over in the UK between the Tories and the factions within it and the factions within Labour that are trying to unseat both Jeremy Corbyn and Theresa May, and they're not being successful. We'll find out tomorrow whether they will be or not. But whoever wins this fight over the wall, and I suspect it'll be Trump, I'm almost positive it'll be Trump, paves the way for a win into 2020. Because if Pelosi loses this fight, she will go in to the primary season with everybody who's prominent within the Democratic Party running for president, fighting amongst themselves while the factions fight amongst themselves. And the darkest horse in the race, and I don't mean that as a slight against Tulsi Gabbard's color, the darkest horse in the race just might have the biggest and most outsized impact on it. This has been the Gold, Goats, and Guns short news for Sunday, January 20th, 2019. If you like what you heard today, please give a like and subscribe down below. That would be fantastic. I'd really appreciate it. We're closing in on 1,500 people subscribed to the channel. I'd love to have you as one of them. It just would be great. You can follow me on Twitter at TFL1728. You can join my live streams here on YouTube and simulcast on Periscope on Monday nights at 8 and Friday nights at 8:30. And you can have a great day and enjoy your holiday tomorrow. Be well and keep your stick on the ice.